First contact fallout. The massive Zaxian warship Eternal Dominion hung in Earth's orbit like a predatory shark, its obsidian hull absorbing sunlight rather than reflecting it. Supreme Commander Vexlor stood on the command deck, his 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the blue-green planet on the main view screen. The commander's gray skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that reflected his calculating mood. Another primitive world for the collection, Vexlor said, 6-fingered hands clasped behind his back. Their most advanced weapons are barely beyond chemical propellants. They still burn fossilized plants for energy. His second-in-command, Officer Nix, looked less certain. The Intelligence Division reports anomalies, Commander. Their satellite network is more extensive than their public records indicate, and their fiction is peculiarly fixated on alien invasions. Vexlor made a dismissive gesture, the luminescent patterns on his skin flashing with irritation. All developing species imagine threats from the stars before encountering them. It's an evolutionary trait. There's more, Nix persisted. Their military capabilities seem deliberately understated. Deep scans detect energy signatures inconsistent with their technological profile. Are you suggesting these humans, who haven't even colonized their neighboring planets, could pose a threat to the Zaxian Empire? Vexlor's voice dropped dangerously. We've conquered 53 star systems. This will be the 54th. Nix bowed her head. Of course, Commander. I merely suggest caution. Your concerns are noted. Now prepare the standard conquest protocol. Broadcast the ultimatum in all their major languages. The Zaxian fleet of 7 massive warships position themselves over Earth's major population centers. Their communication arrays activated, sending signals to every television, radio, computer, and communication device on the planet. In homes, offices, and public spaces across Earth, screens flickered to show Commander Vexlor's alien face with its multiple eyes and shimmering skin. People of Earth, the translation began. I am Supreme Commander Vexlor of the Zaxian Empire. Your planet has been selected for incorporation into our dominion. Surrender your governments, resources, and a labor quota of 15% of your population. In exchange, we offer you survival and eventual citizenship within the Empire. You have 12 hours to comply before we demonstrate our power. Choose wisely. In an underground command center beneath the Appalachian Mountains, military leaders from around the world gathered in emergency session. The room buzzed with tense conversations in multiple languages, though everyone understood the gravity of the situation. Commander Aria Voss stood at the center of the room, her posture military straight despite being awake for the past 36 hours. At 42, she had spent her entire adult life preparing for this day, though she had hoped it would never come. The Defiance Protocol is active, she announced, silencing the room. All orbital platforms are powered up and in stealth mode. The Luna base reports all systems operational. What about our off-world assets? Asked General Chen of the Pan-Asian Alliance. All colonies have gone dark as per protocol, Voss replied. If Earth falls, humanity continues. After brief deliberation, the Earth Defense Council drafted a response. It was Voss who delivered it, her face calm despite the weight of speaking for all humanity. To the Zaxian Empire, we respectfully decline your terms. Earth is not available for conquest. Please withdraw immediately. When the message reached the Eternal Dominion, Commander Vexlor laughed. They refuse. Do they understand what they face? Officer Nix studied the response. It seems unusually confident, Commander. Most primitive worlds fragment under threat. A final show of unity before submission, Vexlor said. Target the uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean. Let's show them what happens to those who defy the Zaxians. The Eternal Dominion's main cannon charged, gathering energy from the ship's core. A beam of blinding purple light shot toward Earth, striking the small island. The resulting explosion vaporized several square kilometers, sending massive waves across the ocean. Broadcast again, ordered Vexlor. Show them the footage and repeat our demands. Before the communication could be sent, Alarms blared across the command deck. "Energy signatures detected," shouted the sensor officer. "Multiple sources rising from Earth's surface and from their moon." Hidden platforms around Earth's orbit dropped their cloaking fields. Sleek, angular vessels rose from secret bases on Earth's surface. From the far side of the moon, larger warships emerged. Officer Nix's eyes widened. "Those ships, they're using gravitic distortion technology. That's impossible for their development level." Vexilor's skin flashed with alarm. "The Council refers to Earth as the graveyard of conquering species. Why wasn't this information provided before we launched the invasion?" Vexilor demanded. "The records were sealed at the highest level," Nix explained. "Even our Imperial intelligence had no access. Someone in the Council wanted this information buried." Across Earth, people gathered around screens as a unified broadcast began. For the first time, humanity learned the truth that governments had hidden for decades. "Fellow citizens of Earth," began Commander Voss, flanked by leaders from every major nation. "Today we face an extraterrestrial threat that has forced us to reveal a long-kept secret. Since 1947, when an alien craft crashed in New Mexico, Earth's nations have worked together behind the scenes, pooling resources and knowledge to prepare for this day." The broadcast showed footage of underground facilities where reverse-engineered technology had been developed. It revealed the orbital defense platforms disguised as communication satellites, and most shocking of all, it displayed images of human colonies established on Mars, Europa, and even in the Alpha Centauri system. "We have established self-sustaining colonies beyond our solar system," Voss continued. "No matter what happens here, humanity will survive." In the vast chamber of the Galactic Council, representatives from 300 species debated the unfolding crisis. The ancient Kulari delegate, whose species had observed the galaxy for millennia, addressed the assembly. "Once again, humans demonstrate why they have been classified as a variable species," the Kulari said, their crystalline body refracting light in complex patterns. "Their development path defies normal patterns. They advance through crisis rather than stability." The Zaxian ambassador pounded his fist on the podium. "The Empire demands to know why information about Earth's defenses was withheld. We have lost ships and lives to this deception." "There was no deception," replied the archivist, keeper of council records. "Your empire chose not to request a full species assessment before invasion, as required by council procedures. Your haste has cost you dearly." "The human question must be addressed," insisted another delegate. "Their hidden colonies violate expansion treaties." "Treaties they never signed," the Quilleri countered. "Humans were never officially contacted because the council could not agree on their classification. Are they a warrior species to be contained, a craftsman species to be employed, or something else entirely?" Deep in the asteroid belt, a small mining outpost received encrypted orders from Earth Command. Base Commander Elena Torres gathered her team of 30 miners in their common room. "The homeworld is under attack," she announced grimly. "Operation Scattered Stars is activated." The miners exchanged solemn looks. Though they appeared to be simple resource gatherers, each was a trained military operative. Within hours, their mining vessel had transformed into a heavily armed strike ship. Similar scenes played out across the solar system and beyond. Research stations became weapon platforms. Diplomatic outposts revealed hidden arsenals. Trade ships uncloaked military capabilities. Earth had spent decades placing its pieces on the cosmic chessboard, hidden in plain sight. The counterattack. 3 days later, the Zaxian reinforcements arrived. A massive armada of 120 warships led by the dreadnought Imperial Decree. They found the first wave of Zaxian ships still holding position behind the moon. Admiral Zarkon, a veteran of 24 conquest campaigns, addressed Commander Vexilor via hologram. His skin patterns pulsed with barely contained rage. "Your failure is most disappointing, Commander. The Emperor himself has noticed." Vexilor bowed his head. "Admiral, I must warn you. These humans are not what they appear. They have. Spare me your excuses, Zarkon interrupted. I studied the battle records. They simply caught you unprepared. A mistake I will not repeat. As the reinforcement fleet moved into attack formation, Vexilor's sensors detected unusual activity in the asteroid belt. Admiral, we're picking up multiple ships emerging from hiding positions throughout the system. Zarkon dismissed the warning. Nothing their primitive technology can muster will stand against 120 Imperial warships. But as the Zaxian fleet approached Earth, they did not face just the planet's defenders. Small, swift attack craft emerged from hidden bases on Mars, from Jupiter's moons, and from the asteroid belt. They struck with precision, targeting engines and weapon systems before disappearing again. It was not a battle. It was a hunt. And for the first time in the long history of the Zaxian Empire, they were the prey. In the Earth Defense Force Command Center, Commander Voss watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. The holographic display showed human forces systematically dismantling the Zaxian fleet. Operation Scattered Stars is proceeding as planned, reported Captain Santos. All off-world assets are engaged. The enemy fleet is in disarray. Casualties? Voss asked. Minimal. 7 of our ships damaged, 2 destroyed. Crew evacuated safely. Voss nodded. And the package? Captain Santos checked another display. Strike Team Omega has penetrated the Zaxian command ship. They're proceeding to the central core. Good, Voss said. Tell them to proceed with Phase 2. Aboard the Imperial Decree, Admiral Zarkon watched in horror as his carefully orchestrated attack collapsed into chaos. Alarms blared across the command deck as damage reports flooded in from across the fleet. How is this possible? He demanded, skin flashing with panic. These are primitives. Officer Tyran, his intelligence chief, studied the tactical display. Admiral, their attack patterns suggest intimate knowledge of our ship designs. They're targeting specific vulnerabilities that aren't in any public database. A spy, a traitor, something else entirely, came a new voice. Zarkon turned to find a human woman standing on his command deck, flanked by a small team of soldiers in advanced combat armor. Their weapons were trained on the bridge crew, but held steady, not firing. I am Commander Elena Torres of Earth Defense Force, the woman said calmly. And you're wondering how we got aboard your supposedly impenetrable flagship. Kill them, Zarkon ordered, but the bridge crew hesitated, seeing their weapons had no effect. Torres smiled. Your internal defense systems recognize us as Zaxian. Interesting what you can do with the right technology. She tapped a device on her wrist. Specifically, technology we salvaged from a Zaxian scout ship that crashed on our moon 73 years ago. Impossible, Zarkon whispered, his skin patterns now showing fear. We've never sent scout ships to this sector before our current campaign. Not in your lifetime, Torres replied. But your empire has existed for millennia. And apparently, you've tried to conquer Earth before. In the vast meeting hall of the Galactic Council, the emergency session had devolved into chaos. Representatives from dozens of species shouted over one another as footage of the human counterattack played on massive screens. Order, demanded the Council Arbiter, a massive being of living crystal. We will have order. The ancient Kulari delegate drifted to the center of the chamber. This outcome was predicted. The human variable continues to prove our original assessment correct. What assessment? Demanded the Zaxian ambassador. What have you been hiding about these humans? The archivist stepped forward, activating a holographic display. We've been monitoring Earth for over 50,000 years. In that time, no fewer than 12 species have attempted conquest or colonization. None have succeeded. The display showed ancient footage of various alien crafts engaging with primitive human forces and somehow being defeated despite their technological advantages. Unlike most species, humans advance most rapidly under threat, the Quilleri explained. Their unusual evolution on a planet with diverse apex predators created a species that thrives on overcoming superior opponents. But their technology, protested another delegate. They couldn't have developed it independently. They didn't, confirmed the archivist. They reversed engineered it from every failed invasion. Each species that attacked them unwittingly provided the building blocks for Earth's defense against the next threat. In Earth orbit, Commander Voss received Torres transmission from the captured Zaxian flagship. "We have the command codes, Commander," Torres reported. "Their entire communication network is compromised." "Excellent," Voss replied. "Transmit the ultimatum." Minutes later, every Zaxian ship received the same message. Footage from their own historical archives showing previous failed attempts to conquer Earth, along with a simple message: withdraw or be destroyed. Admiral Zarkon, now under guard on his own bridge, watched the message with dawning horror. The Council knew. They knew this would happen. "The question," Torres said, "is why they let it happen anyway." As the Zaxian fleet began a disorganized retreat, leaving nearly 40 disabled vessels behind, Commander Voss received an unexpected communication, direct from the Galactic Council. "Commander Area Voss," began the ancient Kulari delegate. "The Council requests Earth's presence at an emergency session." Voss raised an eyebrow. "Earth is not a member of your Council. We've never even been officially contacted." "That oversight is precisely what we must discuss," the Kulari replied. "Humanity has proven itself exceptional. The balance of power in our galaxy has shifted today." Voss considered this. "You knew the Zaxians would attack us. You let it happen. We needed to see how you'd respond," admitted the Kulari. "Whether your species was ready for the wider galaxy. And are we?" "That," said the Kulari, "is what the Council must decide." The Ascension. The Council chamber fell silent as Commander Voss entered, flanked by a small delegation of Earth's military and scientific leaders. The vast amphitheater housed representatives from hundreds of spacefaring civilizations, many regarding the humans with a mixture of curiosity, respect, and fear. The Council arbiter, towering 12 feet tall, addressed them. "The representatives of Earth are granted temporary speaking privileges in this extraordinary session." Voss stepped forward. "We come seeking neither approval nor permission. Earth has defended itself, as is our right. We simply wish to understand why our planet has been targeted repeatedly throughout our history, and why this Council did nothing to prevent it." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The archivist responded. "Earth was designated a quarantine world precisely because of these incidents. After the third failed invasion attempt, we realized your species possessed unusual adaptability. We decided to observe rather than interfere. You used us as lab rats," General Chen said coldly. "We used you as a natural filter," corrected the Kulari delegate. "Species that resort to conquest often attempt Earth first. Those that succeed might threaten galactic stability. None have succeeded. So Earth is your unwitting border guard," Voss concluded, "dealing with expansionist empires so you don't have to." "A crude but accurate assessment," the Kulari acknowledged. "But understand, we also protected you. Had any species recognized your potential and launched a full extermination campaign rather than an occupation force, we would have intervened." The Zaxian ambassador pushed his way to the speaking platform. "This is outrageous. These humans have technology stolen from a dozen civilizations. They maintain secret colonies throughout our sector. They are a threat to established order." "Order," Voss challenged, "or dominance. We've studied your empire, Ambassador. 53 subjugated worlds. Billions living as second-class citizens. Is that the order you wish to protect?" Before the Zaxian could respond, the chamber doors burst open. A delegation of unfamiliar beings entered, representatives from species the Council had never seen before. "We speak for the Free Worlds Alliance," announced their leader, a tall, serpentine being. "Former colonies of the Zaxian Empire who have declared independence with Earth's assistance." The Council erupted in chaos. The arbiter's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. "Explain this, Commander Voss. Your operation extended beyond self-defense. Operation Scattered Stars had multiple objectives, Voss acknowledged calmly. We determined the best defense against the Zaxian Empire was to disable it from within. On displays throughout the chamber, footage appeared showing human operatives helping oppressed populations on Zaxian-controlled worlds, training resistance fighters, supplying advanced weapons, disabling planetary control systems. While you were focused on our defensive battle in the Sol system, Voss continued, 17 Zaxian colony worlds declared independence. Their defense fleets have joined our alliance. The ancient Quillari's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been amusement. Exceptional indeed. You didn't merely defend, you countered. A strategy no other species has attempted. Humanity doesn't just react, Voss said. We plan ahead. Hours later, after heated debate, the Council reached a decision. The Arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber. Earth and its colonies are recognized as sovereign territory. The Free Worlds Alliance is acknowledged as an independent political entity. The Zaxian Empire is ordered to recognize these new borders or face Council sanctions. As the session adjourned, the ancient Quillari approached Commander Voss privately. There is something you should know. Your species was not always confined to Earth. What do you mean? Over 100,000 years ago, before our record-keeping became comprehensive, there are fragmentary accounts of beings similar to humans spreading throughout this sector of the galaxy. They vanished suddenly, perhaps from disease, war, or some cosmic calamity. But they left remains on many worlds. Are you suggesting we're not native to Earth? I am suggesting, the Quillari said carefully, that your return to the stars might be exactly that, a return. Back on Earth, Commander Voss stood before the United Nations General Assembly. Representatives from every nation watched as beams of concentrated force struck two Zaxian vessels, compressing their hulls like aluminum cans before they exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. Vexlor stared in disbelief. Evasive maneuvers, all ships, defensive positions. As the Zaxian fleet scrambled, a new transmission came from Earth. Commander Voss appeared on screen, her expression resolute. This is Commander Area Voss of the Earth Defense Force. We've been monitoring your empire's expansion for decades. We know your tactics, your technology, and your weaknesses. We've prepared accordingly. This is your only warning. Leave our system immediately or face extinction. The transmission ended, leaving the command deck in stunned silence. Vexlor turned to Officer Nix, his confidence shaken for the first time. How is this possible? Their technology. They shouldn't have these capabilities. I warned you, Commander, Nix said quietly. The intelligence reports suggested anomalies. Perhaps they've had previous contacts. Another alarm sounded. The communication officer looked up with dread. Commander, we're receiving the signal from the Galactic Council. They're demanding an immediate report on the situation. Vexlor's skin paled, the bioluminescence dimming. The Galactic Council rarely involved themselves in standard conquests. Something about this planet had caught their attention. Send them our battle footage, Vexlor ordered, and request reinforcements. This will not be a standard conquest after all. As the Zaxian fleet regrouped at a safer distance, Earth's defenders didn't press their advantage. They formed a protective barrier around the planet, their ships displaying technology that shouldn't exist on such a young world. Officer Nix reviewed the sensor data with growing unease. Commander, I'm detecting technology signatures from at least 3 different advanced civilizations in their defenses. It's as if they've learned from previous encounters. Vexlor stared at the mysterious planet, suddenly understanding why the Galactic Council had taken interest. What exactly have we stumbled upon here? As night fell across Earth, citizens looked up at the lights of battle in the sky. Unlike the panic the Zaxians expected, there was a strange calm, as if somehow humanity had always known this day would come and had been ready for it all along. In the glass-domed command center beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Commander Voss stood surrounded by holographic displays showing the positions of Earth's defenders and the retreating Zaxian ships. Officers from every major nation worked at their stations, their faces tense but determined. "The first wave is pulling back to regroup," reported Captain Santos. "Satellite feeds show they're taking defensive positions behind the moon." Voss nodded, her weathered face showing no emotion. At 42, she had spent most of her career preparing for this day. 20 years ago, as a young lieutenant, she had been among the first to enter the crashed alien ship in the Siberian wilderness. That discovery had changed everything. "They'll call for reinforcements," Voss said. "We have maybe 72 hours before their main fleet arrives." She turned to the communications officer. "Send the signal to all outposts. Operation Scattered Stars is now active." Throughout the command center, several officers exchanged knowing glances. Only those with the highest clearance knew the full extent of humanity's secret preparations. "What about the civilians?" asked General Okafor, representing the African Union. "The public still doesn't know about our off-world colonies." "The time for secrecy is over," Voss replied. "Prepare the global broadcast. People deserve to know what we've been doing with their tax money for the past 50 years. In his quarters aboard the Eternal Dominion, Commander Vexlor reviewed the battle footage with growing fury. 2 ships destroyed in minutes, and the rest of his fleet forced into retreat. His career, once so promising, now hung by a thread. Officer Nix entered after a respectful knock. "The Imperial fleet has received our distress call. Admiral Zarkon is dispatching the 3rd battle group. They'll arrive in approximately 72 hours. Vexlor grunted. "The humans will use that time to strengthen their defenses." "There's something else, Commander." Nix hesitated. "Our intelligence division accessed Galactic Council records through our emergency protocols. They found something concerning." She placed a data crystal on Vexlor's desk. When activated, it projected images of various alien species, some Vexlor recognized, others unknown even to him. The text scrolling alongside was disturbing. "Earth is designated as a quarantine world." Vexlor read aloud. "What does this mean?" "According to these records, at least 9 different species have attempted to conquer Earth in the past 10,000 years, Nix explained. None succeeded. In fact, most of the invasion forces simply disappeared, delivered news that would forever change humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. Today, Earth has been officially recognized by the Galactic Council. Our colonies are secure. The immediate threat has passed." She paused. "But we have learned that the galaxy is more complex and more dangerous than we imagined. And we have learned something else, something extraordinary about our own origins." Displays showed ancient ruins on distant worlds, artifacts bearing unmistakable human characteristics. "We may have traveled the stars before," Voss continued, "and somehow forgotten. But we found our way back. And this time, we return not as conquerors, but as defenders of freedom throughout the galaxy." In the observation lounge of Earth's new embassy to the Galactic Council, Voss and Torres watched ships from dozens of species traveling through the massive space station. "The Council has accepted our membership application," Torres said. "Fastest approval in their history, apparently." "They fear us," Voss observed. "With good reason," Torres replied. "No other species has turned an invasion into a revolution. No other species has liberated 17 worlds while defending their home planet. That's not what we set out to do," Voss said quietly. "We just wanted to survive." "That's always been humanity's strength," came a new voice. The ancient Kulari delegate approached. "You don't merely adapt to survive. You transform challenges into opportunities." "And what challenge comes next?" asked Voss. The Kulari's crystalline form shifted in what might have been a shrug. "There are dangers in the galaxy even the Council fears to name, ancient powers that sleep between the stars. But I suspect that if any species might face them and prevail, it would be yours." "Is that a warning or a request?" Torres asked. "Perhaps both," the Quillary replied. Welcome to the galaxy, humans. It's been waiting for you to return. As the Quillary departed, Voss turned back to the viewport, watching Earth ships now freely mingling with alien vessels. Operation Scattered Stars is complete, Torres said. What's our next mission? Voss smiled slightly. The same as it's always been. Survive, adapt, and make sure humanity has a future among the stars. On a distant world at the edge of explored space, archaeologists from Earth examined ruins predating all known civilizations. The symbols on the weathered stone matched no known language, except for one repeated pattern that resembled an ancient Sumerian glyph. Home, the lead archaeologist translated. It says, "The way home." Below it, an unmistakable map of stars, with Earth at its center. The journey had come full circle. Humanity had not just found its place in the galaxy. It had found its way back. The end.